If you spent any amount of time on social media these days, you would have noticed that everyone seems to be a reader these days, and book content has never been so prolific. And sure, there has always been a certain aesthetism with reading, like pictures of the Lilo Library in Portugal, the Trinity College in Dublin. Book content has always been pretty cool on the internet and before the internet. And I won't even talk about the dark academia days on, the early Pinterest and Tumblr. I won't talk about it, but you can ask me about it if you want. I was there. And as much as content creators like to say that reading has finally gone mainstream, I will not be so black and white with my analysis. Because let's be honest, it has always been a thing. Like, reading has always been mainstream. The industry is worth over $14 billion worldwide. It is not exactly a niche subject and hasn't been for a while. So why are we so hung up with the idea that pretty young ladies on TikTok are going to kill the industry for us real readers with their romantasy books? Why is it a thing? Hi, this is Crowley's Bookshop. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about the aesthetism of reading on social media and why we shouldn't care about this, why it is such a non-issue. If you like me talking about these type of subjects, you can subscribe and follow me on different social media. The gist is that many people, most of them men, most of them older men, are pretty annoyed with the idea that book content on social media, i.e. videos or photos of books, are creating a very superficial idea of what being a reader is, concentrating on the conception of the books as objects more than the books as vessels ideas, and that people engaging into these communities want to be perceived as intellectual rather than actually being intellectuals. Well, my question would be, who the fuck cares, for one, but I am a cheeky bastard and I will go further than that in my analysis, of course. Because, well, I'm a bookish bestie myself, and I have been accused of such a thing, like weaponizing books to be picked or get views or whatever. I wasn't listening. What is funny to me, though, is that books have always been weaponized against women in some ways. By other women, first of all, because if you read, you are not like the other girls, because it's not good to be like the other girls. Oh no, we don't want that. And by men, of course, because if a woman reads, she wants to be picked. She is doing what a man should do. And also, she can never read like a real man would, because women are only reading shit books or can't really engage in books like men do, because you need a penis to read a book, I guess. Or they want to be interested, as I said, and they want to be picked. Women can never win. If you read a book, you want to be a pick-me, or you do it for the male gaze or whatever, and if you don't read books, you are stupid. You can never win. But it is also weirdly treated as a niche subject, something that only the most elitist of people can do and partake in for some reasons. At least until like the early 2020s, where with the pandemic, people have to find hobbies that were a bit more solitary or lonely, and also celebrities had to find new ventures to make money, so they did book clubs. It was a very weird time. The booksellers went at that time. It was a good time for booksellers, apparently. The thing is that books also hold still a certain capital as objects themselves. Books equal smart, intelligence, someone who is politically or artistically engaged, and all like the other words associated with that in the thesaurus. But also means nerdy in not a good way. Like if you were an avid reader in middle school, you didn't read Dune. It was not what the popular girls were doing, right? Ask me how I know. That's because I was the one reading Dune during recess. I was not a popular girl, ever. And the reason why these people are so annoyed with these women is because they engage with romantasy books, which are not equal to smart, artistically engaged, or all the other words in the thesaurus. And like, I read science fiction, trust me, I have been there, done that before. Like, I have been there long before they did. And finally, there is the whole conversation about the consumption of books themselves as like commodities or disposable, namely with the book hauls video, for example, which is tied to the Shein hauls, like the clothes hauls that we saw on YouTube mostly in the early 2010s. The idea is that the book collection itself is fetishized. The book as an object is fetishized, not its content. The content is secondary. But let's be honest, we kind of all do this. If we have the choice, we will take the prettier cover of the book, because hopefully we will see the books like this is my living room. This is my living room. So of course I want to have pretty books because I'm going to live there. So I want my room to be pretty. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it is such a wild idea when you really think about it. And collecting books is not actually that bad either when you think about it. Yeah, I read them, I'm going to keep them. What is so weird about that? And I will only speak for my country with that, but in France there is a certain idea of sacrality with books. You cannot throw a book, even if it is highly damaged, or you cannot use a book however you want. There was a picture going around on social media. Someone took a picture of a stranger, which is wild to me that you could do that and not think twice about what you're doing. And this stranger was highlighting a La Pléiade book. La Pléiade is a collection of books of the classics, which is very highly regarded. It is very expensive and it is beautiful. Like it makes for a beautiful library when you have them all. And the guy was highlighting, like using highlighters to highlight passages in the book. And people went wild on social media because this guy was writing in a book. I don't understand the conversation, but here we are. And also they were on the news, like it was on social media and on the fucking news. This library was being given books, but some of them were so used, so damaged, like wet, pages missing, that they had to throw them away. And someone on social media found out about this and it blasted the fucking public library for that. And they had to apologize for it. The books were so used you couldn't read them. Some of them were so wet, the book was falling apart in their hands. And they had been blasted on social media for throwing away the books. Insane. And I understand that we have a whole history with that in Europe, with like the book burnings and stuff of the Second World War. But maybe it's a bit too much when it goes to like you can't even throw a book because it is so damaged you can't read it, you know? And I talked about the dark academia aesthetic before, but like the aesthetics that are prepackaged and formatted are a very big thing on social media. You have like the cottage call girl with the books that goes with the cottage call girl. You have the emo call girl, the clean girl. And some of the images that go around on social media are so well known, even outside of social media. You have the book stacks and the bookshelves, and you have the pretty book covers and the pretty IKEA flowery bedding. You know the one I'm talking about. Again, it gives fodder to the people who say that these books are appealing as objects, again, more than vessels of ideas and philosophy and stories and whatever. I will also add that these type of tropes of package core are heavily used to categorize book into those tropes. Like a couple years ago, we had the female rage tier lists or whatever that make people want to stay within those tropes, to be part of these very small communities. And so they don't really explore outside of these very short lists of like 10-ish books. But let's just sit down for a moment. The whole idea that women are reading books just for the aesthetic and just to be picked is so widely misogynistic, so widely elitist. Why would you even think that in your heart and heart? Why would posting a picture of a book that you liked mean that you do not actually engage with the book? Like, it is the point of social media. If you want to talk about something, you have to show it. You have to show the something, right? And pretty pictures are better to do as well. Like, they make better on social media, but they are better to do for yourself, I guess. That's just it. You want to make something appealing because humans are visual animals, I guess. The sole conversation that if you want to make something pretty, you do not engage with it. Why are book covers a thing then? If we really wanted to be smart about it, we would not make book covers. We just do like, you know, like the academic thing, or just printing a paper and stapling in it, that's it. You wouldn't have marketing around books, I guess. Like, that's the point of marketing, making things pretty, because pretty things are great. And sure, now books are more accessible than ever to the general public. I would say that is a good thing. And sure, it comes with a certain commodification of books and reading, and also a shift in the stereotype of like the bookworm or the bookworm, right? Everyone can read nowadays. Old people, young people, people from poor countries, people from rich countries. Anywhere in the world, you can have access to books in some ways or another. And that's so great. To me, it is so great. Everyone can read. Even super sexy women like me can read. The fact, as I said, is that books are still seen as such a super elitist thing to do. Like, it is the ultimate elitist rich guy hobby, an intellectual guy hobby that women being dumb cunts, they cannot like books, like they cannot engage in books the way men do. And that's the whole conversation, right? That women are too dumb and too pretty and delicate and feminine and stupid that they cannot engage in books the way men do, right? Like, I used to create content on social media about science fiction only, like books, shows, movies, video games. And you would not believe the amount of very angry men that would go off on me for engaging in a male-centered hobby, right? Like, and I say older men, like men my father's age, in their 50s or 60s, full on being angry and telling me that I was superficial or a pick me, or that I should also read real books because science fiction is not real books. Like, it was absolutely insane to witness. At the end of the day, book content on social media is like a big fandom with a myriad, a constellation of different things and different ideas being thrown into it. And sure, when you talk about book talk, by default now you think about romanticism, but it's not the case. Like, so many people are creating content on so many different type of books, like thrillers, science fiction, fantasy, self-help book, non-fiction, scientific books. Like, people are creating content about absolutely everything and anything, and it is up to you as a consumer of social media to like curate your own social media platform. You cannot say that these women cannot be on social media because you yourself do not want to make the intellectual effort to curate your own space. And the thing is that fandom at large are driven by women because women are more driven to create clubs and spaces for themselves. It is also up to the men to create their own spaces if they want to, and to not to wait for women to go away from those spaces. Create your own, like, do that. So many fandoms have been saved by women because they engaged into them more heavily than men. Like Star Trek, for example. Star Trek is a big thing. It was literally saved by women. Are certain women performative? Yes, sure, of course. Maybe it happens. But the idea that every single person posting a pretty picture on social media is performing is vastly, untrue, because men do that as well. And we never see someone being angry at a man posting a pretty picture of a book on social media. It's only women. Why? We know why, but ask the question, why? And also, and it is going to be my final point, there is a big internet phenomenon into it. It is an internet thing. It is a social media thing. If you go outside, if you go to a bookshop, there are so much more books than just romanticism. It is not killing the publishing industry. It is not an aesthetic that is a real thing. Sure, it is a big thing in the publishing industry right now because it is a trend, but it is such a small part of what is actually being published every single year. And also, I would say, and I'm so sorry that I have to say that out loud because it sounds so fucking stupid, but it is true, and people are not necessarily computing that, but once social media page do not encapsulate their entire life. Again, I have been accused of that. Like, oh my God, you only post books. Yes, I'm not showing you when I go to work, when I'm with my fiance, when I'm with my cat, when I go to poop. Like, I'm not showing you that because that's not interesting and it is my life. I'm showing you my books and what I read because that's what I want to show the world. That's what I'm interested in on social media. And it is not my entire life. It is a very small part of my life, but I want to share it. So that's what you think my character is. But it is an internet thing. It is not a real life thing, right? Sure, it is part of my real life as well, but it is such a small part of it. I am more than just that, right? And also, I think the very meme culture and anti-cringe culture that is cultivated on the internet right now is also part of this. Like, people dogpile and insult other people over the smallest thing on social media. It is actually insane. Let people take pretty pictures of books. If they want to talk about a book, they will have to show it, right? And this is a way to captivate others and to ask your intention. And that's a thing on social media. That's what people are going to do. So let them do it. It doesn't actually harm anyone, right? We say all the time that kids these days are not reading. Let them read. Maybe they will go towards more intellectual books in the future. You're not going to help them by yelling at them that what they're reading is stupid. You're going to help them by saying, hey, this is a diagram of Venn of what I like and what you like. And see, there are some books in the middle. So maybe I can show you these books in the middle. You like romance? Great. I can give you like a Jane Austen book. You like fantasy? Great. I can give you like a Brandon Sanderson book. And you go from there, saying to people that what they read is dumb and they are being stupid for liking X or Y or Z type of books is not going to make them listen to you. What is going to make them listen to you is you showing kindness, is you showing interest, and is you having a genuine conversation with them. Let them be. As long as people are informed about what they are reading, let people read. The world is bad enough. Like, so many horrible things are happening in the world. Women reading romantasy is not one of them. All right? Let them, share what they want. Let them go to their booksellers and do book clubs and engage in things that they like. Maybe, who knows, the money that they put into these type of projects is going to go to more indie projects in the future. We don't know about that, and it's possible that they do. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. This whole conversation is stupid because no, all book content is not shallow, and you have to find the gems, sure, on social media, but they do exist. There are so many very interesting people talking about books in a very profound and interesting way. And also, not everything has to be profound and deep and interesting. Yeah, sure, interesting, but not everything has to be deep and profound. Sometimes people just like to read stuff, and it's okay to want to read stuff. It's okay. Literally, it's alright, and you're going to be fine. Of course, my opinion is much more nuanced than that. I kept it short for the sake of the video and to make it watchable and enjoyable, but of course, it is very important that we stay critical in the way we consume media and in the way we talk about book talk. There are a lot of problems associated with book talk, and I'm completely aware of that. But I also believe that there is a big snowball effect in the way people talk about these things, because it is very trendy and it gives views. And there is a tendency to make something much bigger than it actually is. And sure, there is a lot of conversations to have regarding anti-intellectualism and the rise of, the it's not that deep type of content. But I also, as I said, do not believe that showing pretty pictures and creating a nice, beautiful place on social media makes you a stupid person that doesn't enjoy the books and take time to really think about the books and is not an intellectual person. That's it for me, but we will, of course, talk about this conversation again in future videos. Don't fret about it. We will be back to that conversation. That's it for me with this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you find it interesting in some ways. If you liked it, please leave a comment, leave a like. You know the drill. You've been on the internet for long. You know how it is now. If you want to follow me on social media, please do so. I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, and I have a GoodReads. If you want me to talk about different subjects regarding books, you can leave a comment or reach out to me in my DMs. They are all opened, and you can do that whenever you want. This is my kitty. She is having a nice time on the table right in front of me. I will see you guys next time. Can I get a wahoo? That's going to be my outro now. Can I get a wahoo? I love this outro. Cheers, guys.